Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Azure podcast with your host Sam Foote.
And Armstrong.
If you're new here, we're a pair of Azure and Microsoft 365 focused IT security professionals. It's episode 22 of season 6. Alan and I had a discussion around the new releases in August. Here are a few things that we covered. Key Microsoft Entra, Intune and Defender XDR features, updates and announcements. Azure changes, any new features, and also retirements. We've noticed that a large number of you aren't subscribed. If you do enjoy our podcast, please do consider subscribing. It would mean a lot to us for you to show your support to the show. It's a really great episode, so let's jump in. Hey Alan, how are you doing this week?
Hey Sam, not doing too bad. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. What new news have we got? Well, we've got news this episode, but anything other than the news, which is news that you'd like to share, Alan?
Am I right in that I've seen there's another Microsoft Secure?
There's like a one... Yes, there is. I got an email about it, and I got very confused about this email, right? And I'll tell you the 2 reasons why I got confused, okay? The first reason was that you're completely right. Was I just in a coma and the next Microsoft Secure has come round? And the second thing that confused me is I think the third bullet point of what they were talking about was cost consolidation and not AI. I mean, the first 2 bullet points were AI, but the last one was back to like cost consolidation.
Do more for less.
And I was like, we've gone full circle. It's happening. So yeah, I don't know when it is. It's soon, though, isn't it? It's this side of Ignite, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's in October. I'm frantically looking. I can't find it.
Let me just look it up and see. But if I remember rightly, they worded it like it wasn't like an event. I don't know how to describe it. Like it was like Microsoft Secure. How unprofessional typing on the podcast. No, that's them talking about Microsoft Ignite.
September? It's digital event set to explore the next wave of AI first end-to-end security innovations.
Yeah, Microsoft Secure.
Yeah, so it looks like they're doing it twice a year.
Oh no, the bullet points are different. Oh no, actually the first one does talk about Copilot agents. But yeah, actually I lie. It's 2 bullet points that don't talk about AI. Manage the total cost of your security toolset by consolidating with a platform approach, aka do more for less. Understand how a unified SecOps toolset powered by Microsoft Sentinel and Microsoft Defender gives you comprehensive proactive threat protection. So that's cool. They're 2 topics that I can get excited about.
Yeah. It is called Unify Your Security for AI Era, so...
Yeah, I mean...
It's consolidation, isn't it?
Yeah, and to be fair, the first bullet point, stop attacks across cloud and platforms, harden your defenses in a cost-effective way, and secure AI. Oh no, it is, okay.
Yeah.
With Microsoft Secure Copilot agents, Microsoft Entra and Microsoft Purview. So... But I don't really mind that because that is AI controls, AI usage, shadow AI, etc. Isn't it? It's not, automate your security operations with AI, is it? So I'm happy with all these 3. Well, it is because it's talking about security Copilot agents, I suppose, but but the whole thing isn't about just that one product.
Yeah, exactly. So Yeah, I don't know when that email came in. It might have been last week or the week before, even.
Yeah, I can't see it, but no, I've got it. The title was "Take a Proactive Approach to AI Security." Yeah, Tuesday, September 30th. Oh, it's only an
Yes.
hour.
Yeah, it's like a quick update, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what I felt like it was. Like it wasn't like an event; it was like a Microsoft Secure like webinar basically. But it's just before they've had it as like a day, haven't they?
Yeah, or an afternoon. Yeah.
But it hasn't made like sense because the true updates come at Ignite, don't they? And it was always just a refresher, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, should we get on with the news for this week's episode?
Yeah. Who's going first? Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, let's not, break a habit, I suppose. Yeah, if you want to kick us off, Alan, with your set of updates.
Yeah. Okay. I think last news, I think I mentioned some of the August news because I got too excited about some of them. But
I'll call you out. Don't worry, Alan.
if you can remember them, yeah, this would be a good test.
Yeah.
No. Okay, let's look at the Unified SecOps platform. In preview, advanced hunting can now be enriched with custom detection. Can now enrich your custom detection rules. So in effect, you can create dynamic alert titles and descriptions. So you're able to do this in Sentinel, where you could in effect put some like the username into the title of the alert, so that you could easily see all the device in there. So rather just being a device has malware on it, you can now say device A has malware on it, that kind of thing. So you can easily pick up in sight of a list of alerts that you may have a critical asset that catches your eye as you're going through the alerts and things like that. Or at least if you're looking at an incident, you can see the multiple alerts and you can see which alerts relate to which devices quite easily. So I think that's a good one. In preview, I think we mentioned this last episode, but in advanced hunting, there's a new schema tables. One's for cloud storage aggregated events. So bringing in all that information into the XDR portal, and there's identity events table containing information about identity events obtained from cloud identity service providers. So that is probably the amalgamation of Entra and probably things like Okta and things like that are being fed into Defender for Identity. So that's good. Advanced hunting now lets you investigate Microsoft Defender for cloud behaviors. So that's been brought in. Advanced hunting query results being displayed in the Defender XDR port has been increased to 100,000. Which seems like a lot.
That is a lot, yeah.
What was it before? I don't think it was like massive, but was it like 10,000 or 1,000 or something like that, wasn't it? I have to.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So the other one is GA. I think it's one of the ones I did talk about last couple of weeks ago. Defender for Experts for XDR and Defender Experts for hunting customers, and that can now expand their service coverage to include server and cloud workload protected by Defender for Cloud through representative add-ons. So Defender for Experts for server and Defender Experts for hunting for servers. Rather large names for add-ons, but
I like that.
Yep. And yeah, I remember saying about this one. Defender Experts for XDR customers can now incorporate third-party network signals for enrichments into their service. So starting to feed into Sentinel tables. That's it for the unified platform. I say that's it. That was a fair bit there. Defender for Office. SecOps can now dispute Microsoft's verdict on a previous submitted email or URL when they believe the result is incorrect. Disputing an item links back to the original submission and triggers a reevaluation with the full context and audit history. So that's good. That was it for Defend for Office. Defend for Endpoint. The only things I see on here for August is that you can now configure offline security intelligence updates for Defender for Endpoint for Mac OS. So you can specify a local mirror server, apparently, which is
What do you host it on?
I no idea. I'm
On
gonna have to
a Mac?
invest. Yeah, just another Mac.
A Mac Mini, Apple
Yeah.
TV. No, that's cool.
Yeah, I have to investigate that. I guess it's the same as what you can do with servers and file shares, things like that. Maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe not as easy to authenticate with. I guess it depends on the configuration, etc. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so Defend for Identity. So we have a few new Microsoft Entra ID risk levels now available in near real time in the Defender for Identity. So against the identity infantry assets in the XDR portal, you're now able to see near real time, in effect, the risk level of all users. That's also in the identity info table. So that's now being updated quite frequently.
What was it before?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It's probably
Log analytics refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, probably a bit longer than that because I expect to have to do a sync with it, mightn't it, for the risk level.
Okay. Yeah. So you might have like multiple, jobs happening there, I suppose. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
We have a new assessment: remove stale service accounts. So I think we've seen 2 or 3 months ago that we're able to see service accounts in the XDR portal. Now it's identify ones that are not being used or not authenticated for an X period of time. So then putting a preview on that. New graph-based API for response actions. Let's just check we're in the right month. Yep. So now able to do things like block. So in the portal, you're able to block, disable an account in Active Directory from the portal. Force a reset password on the the AD side, and there's probably a few others in there. But now you're able to use an API to do that. So now you can build it into some of your SOAR, your automation from an incident. Now to be able to go and automatically go and do that.
Nice.
Identity scoping is now gone generally available. So that was where you could identify who, from an RBAC perspective, who can access which domains. So if you're a multi-domain organization, maybe in a single forest, etc., and you could allow certain admins to view the identity information for the domain they look after. So I guess similar to a admin unit, but within the actual portal itself. New posture assessment. Remove discoverable passwords in Active Directory account attributes. So highlights unsecure AD attributes that contain passwords or credential clues, and recommends the step to remove them.
Nice.
So yeah, so definitely some good ones in there.
It feels like they're adding more and more, of like the checks that were part of like third-party AD assessment tools, which is really good, to be totally honest with you. Because
yeah, well, this might be down to the new client, the unified client, that maybe it can see a bit more.
Yeah, make it easier for them to build content for and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems good. Yeah.
So that's all good. So that was it for Defender for Identity. I don't remember what we were talking about then. Defender for Cloud Apps, there wasn't anything for August. This looks like there's something interesting for September, but we won't talk about that.
Try not to.
Yeah. Microsoft Sentinel. Yeah, some stuff for September. So you can now edit workbooks directly in the XDR portal. That's in preview. So I expect previously when you're doing edits, it would pop you out into Azure to go and do those edits. Now, as part of that migration to the XDR portal, it's now leaves you in that portal to do those edits. So that's good. That was it for Sentinel for August. Right, Purview. So I think these were the ones I was reading out last time. Okay, so let's do data security posture management. So they're rolling out a new role within Purview and Entra roles to allow for permissions around AI, the data security posture management bit. So we've got a Purview data security AI viewer. View only permissions in DPSM for AI for sensitive labels and sensitive information types only. So being able to see where those sensitive information types and labels have been identified within the data security posture management part. We've got a Purview data security AI content view. So view only permissions specific to AI interactions, prompts and responses in DPSM AI. So that's to, in effect, see the content as well. And then we've got an AI administrator that's part of the Entra recently introduced role in Microsoft Entra to manage Copilot. In Purview, this role provides view-only permissions for DPSM for security labels, sensitive information types, the equivalent of the Purview data security AI view role. So they've in effect given the Entra role, permissions into Purview, which makes sense. So in data loss prevention, we've got a general release for Microsoft 365 Copilot policy location. So I've gone GA. Policy tips for Outlook highlights table. So there's a matrix now of which clients it works for. We've got policy location. In preview, you can now rename DLP policies.
Excellent.
That's interesting because I've had to use that recently and didn't realize that wasn't a thing.
So good. So good.
I
I had that this week actually because there was like a policy name that had been created ages ago, which was just like the worst name like ever. And I was on with somebody and they're like, "Oh yeah, we haven't done it because we would have to like rebuild it." And I was like, "Aha, no, it's all good now." And like everybody was like, "Oh my god, I'm so thankful that that's a thing now." So good. Sorry. Anyway, back to it.
In preview, there's a help prevent users from sharing sensitive information with cloud apps in Edge for Business. This doesn't require the devices to be onboarded into Purview. Apparently, that's interesting.
Sorry, say that again.
Help prevent users from sharing sensitive information in cloud apps in Edge for Business. So it's because they're signed into Edge that it's able to identify them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in preview, rolling out support for cross-cloud access to encrypted documents. So this is more around when you've got stuff encrypted and you're trying to communicate with other environments like Azure Government, Azure China,
and
things like that. So yeah, cross, as it says, cross-cloud side of things. I think that's it for that. That's fine. That's September's. Okay, Entra. So In August we had some general available Microsoft Entra ID protection, improved detection quality. So they've been improving how the detection increased the quality of and the precision of the following sort of detection types. So anonymous token, anonymous IP address, possible travel, password spray, and unfamiliar sign-in properties. So it's to help reduce the noise when we see those types to make sure they're more accurate. I think that's a good win there, because I think unfamiliar sign-in property seems to be always the one that I've seen a lot of.
Yeah, in terms of noise, definitely. Yeah.
There's a plan for change, new end user homepage in My Accounts. So the My Accounts at Microsoft.com will be updating to provide a more task-focused experience. Users will see pending actions like reviewing expiring groups, approving access packages, etc., and setting up MFA directly on the homepage. So that's good. I think that's probably it for now. Generally available, the platform SSO for macOS with Entra ID. So today we're announcing, let's make sure this is still August, I think it is, yeah. That the platform SSO for macOS is generally available for Microsoft Entra ID. Platform SSO is an enhancement to the Microsoft Enterprise SSO plugin for Apple devices that makes usage and management of Mac's devices more seamless and secure than ever.
Great.
So
Really good.
So yeah, at the time of it rolling out, it was only Mac. It was only Intune that could do it. Other MDMs providers will become so. Yeah, there's still it has to be Intune managed at the moment to be able to put all that in. But I'm guessing they're just opening up or getting permission for the APIs I expect for other MDMs to support it. So yeah, that's good. I think the last one is Intune. Is that the last one? Yep. Just checking. There's quite a few things in here. I'm just trying to pick some of that out. New Windows settings in catalog for Windows. Microsoft. They're all Microsoft Edge related, so allow pages to use the built-in AI API. So this looks like it's AI related. Control access to AI enhanced search and history. Default settings. Identity and sign in. Use primary work profile as default when opening external links. Yeah, it's not a bad shout, to be fair, because I've had to do that so you don't open up, another profile that you're on.
Yeah. Oh no, that is painful.
Because,
yeah,
yeah,
it happens to me all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, you can set it, but you have to know about it. Allow speculation rules prefetch for secure works control URLs. Control whether TLS 1.3 early data is enabled in Microsoft Edge. Allow pages to use built-in AI APIs. That seems like it was the first. They've duped it in the list. Allows speculation rules for free. Okay, they've duplicated a couple of them from the look of it.
Twice as good.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's a few things like that. Private network requests. Yeah, there's a few others there for Edge. There. Yeah, it's probably device configuration recommendations from Security Cobalt, vulnerability management, remediation, Intune agent. Oh, that was a mouthful.
That was words, wasn't it?
SCVM, SCVRIA.
I had to hold your breath.
That's even worse as well. Yes, that's just the Copilot agent in there, being able to help reduce vulnerabilities, remediation. So this might be that if someone doesn't have access to the vulnerability tables in XDR, this will recommend some updates to software, things like that. I think that is it for me. Yeah, over to you, Sam.
Okay, so we'll start with Defender for Cloud, and some of this stuff you've already covered actually, because it's things like aggregated storage, aggregated logs into XDR, etc. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll go through. So generally available Defender for storage, optional index tags for storing malware scanning results. So I think I actually talked about this in the last episode. Was it? No,
Yeah, it was the
my
last one.
was it? Oh, is it your episode next?
Yep.
Oh, interesting. Okay, sorry. I thought it was my episode next. Yeah, so in the previous episode, we talked about Defender for storage and what it can do. And one of the things it can do is it can store the results in an index tag. So like, literally a tag on each file, what the output of the scanning was, so that you could pick it up from your application. That is now generally available for you to use. Now generally available is Defender for storage in Azure Government Cloud. So it wasn't there previously. It is now there. So if you are using Azure Government Cloud, you have that feature and functionality. Also now available in Azure Government Cloud is Defender CSPM and Defender for Service Plan 2 as well. Apparently they didn't exist previously. So I'm not sure about the total coverage of Defender for Cloud in Government Cloud. So but there is a dedicated page which gives you a matrix of what is and isn't supported. There's now an Azure Kubernetes Service security dashboard. So it essentially aims to provide a centralized, a dashboard and reporting platform for you to look at software vulnerabilities, compliance gaps, active threats, with also recommendations for remediation that are prioritized as well. So check that out if you're using Azure Kubernetes Service. And that's all I've got for August for Defender for Cloud. Well, it's not only, but there's some really good updates there. Okay, so moving on to Azure, we've now got a retirement announcement of Azure Dedicated HSM. So if you're currently using Azure Dedicated HSM, customers will have access to that until July the 31st, 2028. Okay, so that's your support window. What they're encouraging customers to do is to begin planning their transition to either Azure Cloud HSM, or Azure Managed HSM, dependent on your workload and the requirements, compliance requirements that you do have today. So you've got quite a long window here, and there are newer solutions now. There's also Azure Key Vault as well that can be used in certain situations with HSM backing. So if you are using that, put that on your radar. In a previous episode, we talked about Azure Storage Actions. I think in the Azure Storage account episode, that is now active in 22 more regions, notably West Europe, West US, UAE Central, Norway, North Central US, Germany West Central. There's some big places that have now been included. So if you are looking at Azure Storage Actions, there are more locations for you now. Now generally available is Azure DNS Public Zones, DNS Security Extensions, is now available in US government and China regions as well. So you can use DNSSEC in those regions. Now in public preview, Azure Virtual Network Manager Mesh now supports 5,000 virtual networks. So Azure Virtual Network Manager Mesh Connectivity is now in public preview. It allows you to group up to 5,000 virtual networks in supported region. So this mesh topology creates bidirectional connectivity between every virtual network in a mesh connectivity configuration. So selected virtual networks communicate directly, eliminating manual peering, avoiding extra hops, and delivering lower latency traffic flows. and it's all in one unified control plane. So yeah, no more peerings anymore. Just let it all mesh together. Now generally available is network security perimeter, which allows you to define a logical network isolation boundary for PaaS resources. So things like storage accounts, SQL database server, etc. That are deployed outside your organization's virtual networks. So it does restrict public network access to PaaS resources with the perimeter and can be exempted by using explicit access rules for public inbound and outbound. So it allows you to sort of, well, as the name suggests, put a network security perimeter around PaaS resources, which is really powerful. So that's gone generally available. Really good to see. Now in public preview, confidential VMs for Azure Linux and Ubuntu as well. So the confidential virtual machines offer stronger security. I think we did do an episode on confidential virtual machines. I won't go into it too much now, but take a look at that for Azure Linux and Ubuntu. Now in public preview is a web application firewall as part of application gateway for containers. So if you're used to application gateway, the standalone product, there is a product for containers as well, and now it does support web application firewall or WAF policies that are now in public preview. So Azure Kubernetes service administrators and developers can protect their workloads against malicious attacks and exploits, such as cross-site scripting, SQL injection, protocol attacks, etc. So it's a really good security update. Part of that, where he talked about the AKS dashboard. Good news! We haven't talked about this for such a long time, but there's been an update now generally available. Azure Data Box is now. Whoa! Don't be laughing at this.
Sorry, I thought it was chaos. I was waiting for chaos.
To be fair, I haven't seen any updates. I don't know what they did with that product team. Azure Data Box Next Gen is now available in additional regions. Good news. Who knew? It's now available. The next generation. I think we did. Did we do an episode on it, or was it part of news one time? Don't know. We should probably do a revisit. It's now available in new regions: Australia, Japan, Singapore, Brazil, Hong Kong, UAE, Switzerland, and Norway. So both the 120 terabyte and 525 terabyte. These are additional items. So we've first got all those new regions that I just spoke about, and then there's new additions such as Azure Data Box 120 terabyte and 525 terabytes are now generally available in US, UK, Canada, EU, US Gov, Australia, Japan, and Singapore. So, even some of those new regions, it's GA in. And Azure Data Box 120 terabytes is GA in Brazil, UAE, Hong Kong, Switzerland, and Norway. So if you do need to move large-scale, data migrations, please order Azure Data Box and tell us all about it and how it works, because I'd love to see that turn up on a pallet. I'm not going to talk about that one because it's just a lot of acronyms. Now generally available, App Service has inbound IPv6 support. So on public multi-tenant App Service is now generally available IPv6. So basic, standard, premium SKUs, functions, consumption, functions, elastic premium, and logic app standard now supports IPv6 inbound. New public preview, introducing Azure App Testing, scalable end-to-end app validation. So Azure App Testing enables developers and QA teams to run large-scale functional and performance tests to pinpoint issues in their applications across frameworks such as Playwright, JMeter, or Locust. I've never heard of Locust before. It brings together two powerful testing capabilities: Azure Load Testing, which is already generally available, and Playwright Workspaces, now in public preview, into a single hub in the Azure portal, providing a consistent experience for provisioning, access control, and consolidated billing. So it seems like a wrapper around, other technologies, but building it into its own platform and solution. Um, in public preview now, announcing tenant-level service health alerts in Azure Monitor. So it's a new capability that allows customers to receive proactive notifications about service health issues impacting their entire tenant, not just individual subscriptions. With this feature, you can now create alert rules scoped at the directory or tenant level directly from the service health page or the alert rule creation wizard in the Azure portal. So get wider visibility into Azure Monitor.
Nice.
Now generally available, the Azure Databricks connector for Microsoft Power Platform. So if you have data inside of Azure Databricks, and you can now connect them to Power Platform if you need to. Some a bit of a niche. Well, it's not a niche retirement. It's quite big, but anyway, I'll go for it. Microsoft Defender for cloud deprecation in Microsoft Azure, operated by 21 ViaNet, is now been deprecated. It's also known as Azure in China, but they are now deprecating Defender for Cloud Portal in its entirety in that environment. I thought it was interesting. They're saying that because of increasing infrastructure and operational complexity, it's no longer feasible to maintain the expected levels of stability and effectiveness for Microsoft Defender for Cloud in that environment. So, also, it's not just Microsoft Defender for Cloud, but they are retiring Microsoft Sentinel in that environment as well. Now in public preview is Azure Bastion now supports connectivity to private AKS clusters via tunneling. So you can create a secure tunnel from your local machine via Azure Bastion directly to your AKS API server, also known as like your control plane, what manages AKS, using your standard Kubernetes tooling on your local machine. So this allows you to punch in directly from your machine into the environment. So really cool addition. That is. I'd love to give that a try. Not that I officially do anything in AKS. Generally available, Azure Functions Flex consumption plan. That's a long one as well. Now supports 512 megabyte instance sizes and diagnostic settings. So Azure Functions now allows you to choose 512 megabytes in addition to the 2 gigabytes and 4 gigabytes as the memory instance size for your Flex consumption apps. So you can further cost optimize. So they're introducing a lower tier there. Not sure what happened to 1 gigabyte, but it jumps from half a gigabyte to 2 gigabytes. But we'll take it. And also you can now, you've now got the ability to set diagnostic settings. So you can collect application logs and resource metrics and send them to the usual suspects like log analytics, storage accounts, event hubs, and other partner monitoring solutions as well. Now generally available, Azure NetApp Files file access logs. So you can now get enterprise-grade visibility into file level operations in SMB, NFS v4.1, and dual protocol volumes. So again, this is a really good addition for monitoring. If you want to stream them somewhere and store them, I suppose. Now generally available, search jobs in log analytics now supports up to 100 million records. So the maximum number of records returned by a search job has increased from 1 million to 100 million records per result set. Holy moly. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Right, what's the next one? Now in public preview, going back to Azure NetApp Files, which is cool. They've got this new feature called short-term clones. So it allows you to create a temporary thin clone from an existing volume snapshot, eliminating the need for a full data copy and enabling capacity savings. So it's really good for creating analytic workflows because you can essentially create a short-term clone of a backup without having to provision capacity, essentially. I don't know about the pricing for it. It's currently in public preview, but it seems like a cool thing to support. And now generally available, Entra ID and RBAC support for a get account info and other supplemental APIs for Azure storage. So to align with best practice, Entra ID and RBAC support is now generally available for the following APIs for Azure storage: get account information, get container ACL, set container ACL, get QACL, set QACL, get table ACL, and set table ACL. So that's a really good addition. Now generally available, schema migration is now available in Azure Database Migration Service. So you can sync missing schema objects, tables, views, stored procedures, indexes, user-defined types, roles, rules, synonyms, and anything else that's there. And schema migration, when you're migrating databases, is typically one of the more complex items, because if the schema's there, you can usually import the data relatively easily. So that's really cool to see that that's now generally available, because when you're migrating a database, you're going to want things like tested and generally available before you try and migrate a production database, right?
Yeah.
And I think okay, so the last update is some Azure SQL updates, some generally available updates. So there's a new schema designer, which is now generally available, which is an easier way to create and modify database schemas without writing any code. That's also got a schema compare as well, so you can compare schemas between different databases and snapshots, etc. And I think that's pretty much it from that side. That's me done for this month. Quite a few updates actually in August that I wanted to go through. There were tons more as well that I left out because which were good, but just I had too much. So yeah, loads of updates from Microsoft for Azure.
Yeah, it's all starting to ramp. We thought it would have been slightly quiet because of Ignite coming.
Yeah.
But obviously not.
No, exactly. And I'm looking at the RSS feed already for September, and there's a lot in it already, to be totally honest with you. Yeah, that's amazing. Really good. Right, Alan. What's our next episode then?
So giving Purview some more love.
Oh yeah. Fancy that.
Yeah, I'm currently doing quite a few Purview projects at the moment, so it's top of mind. Whether it's my preference or not might be a different question, but
I'm sure it's in your heart somewhere. I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I prefer to do other things, but it's all good. So yes, I'm going to talk about Purview DLP, including endpoint DLP as part of that.
Okay.
Because it's quite very powerful.
Yes.
Just to kind of show that, whilst protecting stuff leaving, the clouds, of 365 and maybe a few other areas, we can now also protect stuff happening on the endpoints, which is very interesting. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, really good. I'm looking forward to that one.
Cool. So, did you enjoy this episode? If so, please do consider leaving us a review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. This really helps us reach out to more people like yourselves. If you do have any specific feedback or suggestions, we have a link in our show notes to get in contact with us.
Yeah, if you made it this far, thanks ever so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, thanks all.